1. Presentation title: The Wild Duck and the Swan Song. Explain my two surnames. Explain relation between two birds of title in novel, song sung in approach of death versus story told against death. Explain PhD graphic novel. Explain meta non-fiction, metafiction, faction. Explain Black Sheep Books. Explain slides on YouTube. Explain Ibsen, Shea, Gilligan, Marcus. 2. Trigger warning. Potentially harmful themes. Explain trigger warning. Nature of novel and research. Explain link from warning to life writing. Novel either save or destroy me. Mirrors psychotherapy and life lie. Explain narrative obsessions. Explain relation of Marcus, Shea, Gilligan to trauma and psychiatry in novel. 3. Writing a graphic novel memoir. Writing the life lie. Explain potential of graphic novel memoir. Explain writing the life lie. Story itself, often truth teller, disrupting life lie of protagonist. Explain construction of life lie in my novel and fiction generally. Explain moral injury as powerful way to demolish life lie that you are moral, good, a toxic belief. Explain takeaway 1. Little exploitation of medium of graphic novel. Explain takeaway 2. Universality of life lie central to human agency and identity. Explain thesis title. Explain poetic and technical meaning of shameful eye. Explain domains of graphic medicine, medical humanities. 4. Graphic novel. Explain critique of graphic novels, both of novel and of graphic. Explain how to approach both sides of critique, literary and graphic. Explain critique of graphic novel memoir demographic, Joe Mack cupboard, solipsistic echo chamber. Explain high watermark of Art Spiegelman's Pulitzer Prize for Mouse in 1992. Explain Chris Ware as author of graphic novel formalism, Joyce but also Danielewski. Explain my cover story, bereavement memoir and Shea's undoing of character. 5. Black and white inks on Bristol board. Basics of plot and structure. Explain practical side of making a graphic novel, black and white. Explain interest in story structure, reflecting internal arc, literal black and white edit. Explain previous twist narrative thesis. Explain thriller editing Before I Go to Sleep, The Girl on the Train, Gone Girl, Memento with Editor's Shield. Explain Joseph Campbell's monomyth and life lie of humility, parodied in Lego Movie. Explain Apostle of Truth, as in Greg Esch or My Psychiatrist, The Gift, Entrance Signals, End of the Life Lie. 6. Potential for the constructed gaze in the graphic novel. Explain potential of moving beyond panels and bubbles. Explain hypergraphia, overlaid and another reason for black and white, having writing before become abstract. Explain metapathography. Explain comparative metapathography. Explain gaslighting as meta-narrative. Explain marbles as progressive graphics but internalized gaslighting by psychiatry and capitalism. Explain House of Leaves as comparison. Explain ergodic literature ideal for gaslighting and psychiatry. 7. How to construct the narrative representation of a life. Explain construction of my own autobiographical experience as plot. Explain this as way of decoding the non-trivial effort of ergodic literature. Explain why 4 distinct parts as artifice defy tedium of white male creator. Explain doubling of time as mirroring theme of cognitive load and a final twist. Explain 4-part structure as exploration of trauma and narcissism, power of story meme, copied behavior. Explain way title change altered the multi-level metaphor. 8. Rhythmic musical chapter structure. Explain yet more clear structure within chapters. Non-trivial effort but not to confuse. Explain title, graphic, memory, come back to me, psychiatrist, quote, document, graphic, scan, strip scene. Explain come back to me as central part of narrative and twist. Explain psychotherapy scene, part of twist. Explain quotes as part of ergodic immersion of reader, tension between aid and complicate. 9. Creative writing challenges. Explain problem of flashback, like House of Leaves structure mirrors theme. Explain use of interacting brain states. Explain tension between scientific and poetic, intellectual experience versus narrative experience. Explain Arthur Frank, tension between chaos narrative and restitution narrative of metapathography. Explain 193 page and link to John Reed's statement. 10. Come back to me. 16 setups for one final payoff. Explain come back to me as result of interest in narrative setups and payoffs. Explain goddess metanoia and look over shoulder as regret. abstract universality of regret. Explain ending of Buddhism, mindfulness and Jungian shadow work. Explain Todorov, Les Liaisons Dangereuses, PhD reveal. Explain how this PhD reveal links to hypermemory reveal. Explain the orbiting is result of simply absorbing and processing more info than usual. 11. Illness narratives, psychotherapy and fiction. Explain links between illness narratives, psychotherapy and fictional internal arcs. Explain psychotherapy reveal, should shift reader perception. Awareness of risk, incorporate it. Explain extreme satisfying of metapathography status. Explain universality of No-Face's horrific ignorance and possibility of 2020 Zen-like serenity. Explain Arthur Frank and trope of naming the antagonist. Explain current big head little head theory, misogyny over hysteria, Gilligan. Explain importance of Robert Whittaker and his investigative journalism Pulitzer nomination. Explain my concept of ghosting and exorcism. No easy solution as both lifeline and exposure risky. Explain Babadook and internal agonist. Psychogeography, House of Leaves, Trump Tower. Explain suffering of metanoia resulting from not letting go of need to act. 12. The Wild Duck and the Swan Song. The construction and destruction of the lifeline. Explain Gregesh of Wild Duck and medical professionals speaking musical notes. Pain of truth-telling. Explain strange coincidence of sweet harmony lyrics to aims of metapathography. Explain this black ellipse of eye and cognitive narcissism. Explain USA writers, lifeline and death of the American dream. Explain gymnast silhouette icon, performance, agency and being watched. Explain both gymnast and the notes of the Swan Song, carrying the theme of Bronnie Ware's regret. 13. Fantasyland, the expectation of others, being seen to be good or good at. Explain idea of shameful I, and via Bronnie Ware, what we universally fantasize about. Explain the being good of the collective, being good at of the individual. Explain Anderson's Fantasyland and relation to Marcus' research on interdependence and independence. Explain the through line of lost agency, stroke self, from Yalmar to Achilles, Iphigenia and other characters. 14. Comparative metapathography case studies, interdependence and independence. Explain my meta-narrative for comparative case studies. Explain Daniel Paul Schreiber and Father's Machines. Explain this flip side of the shameful I in Shafir and Kinkle. Explain the schematic case study of Donald Trump as performative unperson. Explain detachment in Buddhism, codependence and 2020. Explain Catherine Penny case study and impossibility that patients can build rapport. 15. The Sun's eclipse, too much metaphor? Explain the question of metaphor and reference to House of Leaves. Explain the 16 graphics if possible. Explain midpoint mirror, 1999 eclipse and 2020 eclipse. Explain 2020 as an exorcist. Explain the PhD psychotherapy reveal as growing No-Face comes through wall. Explain idea of No-Face growing as he consumes characters from backstory, narcissistic rage. Explain idea of 2020 counter-campaign act of naming the antagonist to exorcise. Explain build towards naming No-Face. Explain No-Face consuming multiple brain states as they protect patient zero. Explain screaming growth of come back to me, eventually wife. Explain sacrifice of 2020 and end of duality. Result of absorbing knowledge, No-Face dies. Explain walls falling away, facing audience like you. Explains to audience universal problem of metanoia. Explains wife instructing me to come back to me. Explain final page in Countryside.